Wow, motherfucker. Oh, we're live.
Artlist.io.
Check, you can tell me none. Boss mode in effect, and my money long. If you ain't talking money, don't talk to me. I'll be over here.
Music.
Hello, everybody.
I love your
Welcome
music,
to-
Kent.
Thank you. Welcome to episode 18. We've actually made it 18 episodes of Paranormal Addicts podcast. So our guest today is the beautiful Sara and the man, the myth, the legend, Rob. So, the way we always start out the show is, guys, just introduce yourself to everybody. I mean, so ladies first. Sara, introduce yourself to everybody.
Oh, well, I am Sara, Paranormally Blonde, that you can see every Monday at 7 p.m. And of course, the other half of Get Haunted, helping Rob get haunted space and network like rolling, keeping that beast rolling. And what else? I don't even know. That's it. That's me. I'm just Paranormally Blonde and get on it. That's what I do. What about you, Rob?
Oh, God. Let's see. I'll run down the whole list of things here. So, I'm Rob, the guy that didn't realize we were going live. When you hit that live button, that's going to be an excellent outtake. Let's see. I'm the devil. I am a cult leader. What else am I? A lot of things. But no, it's the founder of Get Haunted and kind of started Get Haunted up in 2019 and sat on it for a couple of years. And then in 2021, made it a real thing. Ended up meeting Sara on her show in December of that year. And here we are. We're coming up on 3 years in business. This is, like Sara, this is all I do. I'm trying to stay alive and navigate the paranormal and build a business that's sustainable, that gives back to people. And that's it, my man. And that's how we have been fortunate enough to meet people like you, Kent, like you, Chris Mack, and the entire, like Damien over there on the side, and the entire Get Haunted community. It's just, you're the reason we get up every day.
Damien's the one person I can always count on being here for my show. He's here every episode.
That boy is dedicated. He's going to have to... Oh, we got another one. There's another dedicated person, Sierra. Damien probably should maybe win and wear an award for the most dedicated podcast viewer on the planet. We're going to have to get a package out to him.
We do. He's so supportive. So supportive. Look at that. Sierra's here. She's got Haunts and Legends every Tuesday. You guys can check her out as well with Mr. Ray Robinson.
Ray Robinson.
Yeah.
So let's start out talking about Get Haunted and the events we got coming up.
Rob won't even know. I'm going to have to.
I don't know. Sara's going to have to handle it.
Especially me. You guys are always busy. I think Rob gets tired of trying to talk to me because I try to talk to him every day, and I think he's like, "Leave me the hell alone, Kent." But if everybody looks, across the bottom of the screen, I have all the events scrolling.
Oh, look at that
coming
shit!
Up.
See, I didn't even need to know it. Look at Kent.
Yeah.
So
these are great. These are great events. These are great events we got coming up.
Yeah. So we've
talk
got
about a few of them for us.
Well, let's start with, I believe. Hold on.
It's going to have to be New Egypt. That's in September. That's September.
New Egypt
14th.
Historical Societies. It's in New Egypt, New Jersey. It's a small museum. And it was pretty much undiscovered, right? It was a hidden gem. Mike Castro from Ghosted Magazine, Danger Close, he manages that location. That's how I learned about it. And I heard a couple of stories from teams he had led in there. I went down there one night, and it was just Mike and I. And I was like, this place it's one of those places that's got a vibe, right? And it each room's a little different, but it's just really cool. Sarah hasn't been yet. And we'll get to your question, Damien. She does. So we started doing events there, and we've had some really, really, and I believe Sarah has been there too. But we've had some really, really interesting nights there with a lot of activity, and to the point where the same people keep, every time we launch it, they like come back as a group, because that group really just works so well together, and they had experiences that were unexplainable. So yeah, it's just a fantastic location down there in southern New Jersey that I love. I personally love it. In fact, I love it so much that I hate that it's getting popular. Let's put it that way.
That's right. That's right. And
Right.
we have
So big of-
New Jersey has very, very dark history. A lot of dark history.
Oh, even current history in New Jersey is kind of crap, right? I grew up in central New Jersey. I grew up in Madison.
So-
And back then, so like
Rob is the Jersey Devil. You're the Jersey Devil, Rob. That's it.
we're definitely maybe related. Then we have October 5th, right? Madison Seminary, Sarah.
We do. And also Rock Island, Paracon will be in Rock Island, Illinois for the Haunted Rock Island Roadhouse Paracon, and also Madison and Ohio. So you've got a couple places you can see get haunted. And I'm bummed because Madison is one place that I have always, and I don't know if you guys have been there yet, Kent or Chris, but that is one location I've always wanted to go to. For whatever reason, it seems like a very interesting location to me.
Yeah, it's a good.
We'll actually get to that question in a minute. What place have you not been to that you want to go to? Mine's actually Pinhurst, believe it or not.
Brother, that's right here. We're 40 minutes from it, right where I'm sitting. 45 minutes. I worked Penhurst for probably 8 or 9 times, maybe a little more. It's always good. It's always fun. It's just one of those places, and I know Chris Mack has his. He loves that place. He does an awful lot of research. Penhurst is a really good one as well.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of dark history. A lot of dark history I find about Penhurst. It's hectic.
It was the shame of Pennsylvania, right? And the truth is, it wasn't shut down until really all that long ago. It wasn't like, it was shut down in the, what was it, Chris, 70s or 80s?
1900s. It was
1970.
But Ledgeworth lasts a little bit longer.
Okay, there you go. So after Madison, what do we have, Sarah?
After we have a White Hill, and White Hill, like another New Jersey and Get Haunted favorite. And really, I think White Hill Mansion in Fieldsboro, New Jersey is like so many people love that location. And Chris, I know have you gotten there yet? Because I know you keep putting that on
I'm actually going in September. I'm going to do a free investigation, actually. So.
Oh, good, awesome. Yeah, it's excellent.
No, it was during the day, during a Paracon, but I met Chris Mack in person at White Hill.
Oh, I remember that.
Yep, and his dad.
I love that.
That's right.
I haven't got to make a Get Hunted event yet, but I'm going.
I said I came over. I said I came over to the table. I said I know who you guys are. So
scared me, Chris.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing, right?
I said I know who you guys are.
Like all ominous, and we'll get you out to one of our events.
Chris is a sucker. I'm going to attend. I'm going to attend it I'm going to attend at least 2 next year.
All right.
I promise. And
We'll allow it.
And I'm actually speaking at Ashmore Estates on September 21st. And
awesome.
that's another place that I've always wanted to go to. And that's the location when the three of us finally get to talk. That's the location I would like to do an event with together. So Ashmore is a good place. So before we continue to get further and further off subject, which is fine, let's talk about the big event in October.
Oh, that's the soiree.
Go ahead, Sarah.
You want to play the video?
I've been doing all the talking.
Let's play the
the party.
Let's play the video.
Welcome to the night where the paranormal unite. A party like never before under the moon's airy light. The vibe is dark, the air is cold, spirits taking flight. Get haunted and ghost the magazine leading the fright. Ghosts and ghouls dancing hand in hand. Lost souls roaming the haunted land. On the battleship New Jersey we gather with glee. Horror and paranormal, a sight to see.
All right, I love that video. So which one of you is going to talk about it? Sarah?
It's a great video. I'll talk about this. I'll do a little soiree talking. So that is the first annual Supernatural soiree right there on the Battleship, New Jersey in Camden, New Jersey. And some of our friends on the side here are going to be there with us. This is really a celebration of the community. This is Ghosted Magazine and Get Haunted coming together. So instead of going to a Paracon, there's nothing wrong with Paracons whatsoever, but this is really supposed to be a mingling situation where the community, celebrity to the curious, to an enthusiast, to an experienced investigator, to people who just don't even know anything about paranormal. If you love Halloween, if you love history, this is a really good opportunity to get together with everybody. We do have a 12-person exclusive vendor tent. So you're going to walk into the party and you're going to see these 12 amazing vendors. And then you're going to walk in, there's going to be a dance floor. We have DJ Ghost coming to drop some major beats during the party. We have a cash bar, I think some food, and then some great opportunities just, to capture some amazing photos. We have an amazing section set up that are going to be great social media opportunities for pictures, and then it's
360 camera. We're firing the 5-inch guns. We're firing the fucking guns on the ship, right?
It's going to be cool.
It's going to be a big boom right there.
It's going to be cool. So I think this is just a really good opportunity for, sometimes with investigations, or Paracons, we don't get to just unwind and have fun. So this is really supposed to be a night of just letting your hair down and having a good time. Why is he spraying away? That's right.
Come let your hair down with us.
And see, unfortunately, it's not unfortunately because it's a great location, but I'm going to be investigating the Monroe House on that.
Ooh.
I got to get there.
Nice.
Yeah.
That place has dark.
But what you were saying about Paracons, what a lot of people don't realize outside of the community, yes, Paracons are a community event. We want the public there, because we don't want to lose money on it. But for people inside the community, it really is a convention. We go there to mingle, and we go there to like one of the guys that I have coming to Get Haunted this year has actually developed like a whole new investigation technique where this actually completely eliminates the investigator. It's all sensors and stuff. So, we go there to learn stuff and just stuff. But, a lot of times we don't get to. I mean, I guarantee you this year on October 12th at Get Haunted, I'm going to be so busy, making sure things go right. I'm probably not going to be able to mingle with anybody. So, yeah, it's good to have those times to just get loose, So,
Yeah.
all right. So, let's talk about paranormal investigating because that's what we all do. I'm going to get to Damien's questions first because he's got about 50 of them already.
Damien had a question.
This first one is: if Get Haunted grows arms and legs, would you buy locations as well? If so, what location would you like to buy first?
Oh, wow.
Well, listen, the thought, I have the thought, right? I just don't know if it would be as fun, right? Just owning a location. Owning it and living in it is one thing, right? But, having to worry about it constantly when you have teams in there and people in there. Because even the locations we don't own, the locations that we rent and go to, I'm very picky about how we leave it, which is almost always cleaner than when we got there. So I can't imagine the stresses of owning a location. Would it be cool to own like a nice haunted bed and breakfast? Yeah, I think so. But there's a lot of work that goes into it and the constant worry that somebody's going to do something stupid to it. So
Yeah.
The answer is probably, but I mean, it depends how many arms and legs we grow.
And the other problem is it's hard to protect it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So,
I know a nice abandoned haunted hospital you could buy.
That sounds
Cheap.
that sounds fun too. But, I also think that 24/7 paranormal is not exactly the healthiest thing in the world either. So it would have to be one of those kind of mild places where it's like the Ditto House, right? Where it's great activity when you're looking for it, but you get some breathing time. They leave you alone a little bit.
You know what I would.
And plus you need security 24/7.
You do. You really do. So people don't go in. But what'd be kind of cool is if if Get Haunted went and looked, like you said, Kent, there's an abandoned hospital. Like, what if we went in and you find those lesser known locations that nobody's really tapped into yet, and we sort of bring in some really cool investigators that come in and learn some history. Like Chris has got such a great knack for gathering history, right? So you could have him gathering history on them, and then we could have different investigators with different styles coming in, and they kind of do their thing and leave like some cool tips and ideas of what they gathered, and then we find the perfect buyer for them, and then we go to the next.
What if we built
that's kind of
haunted?
Sorry, Rob.
Oh, it's okay. Haunted cult compound. So we can have the hospital and then a bunch of little houses around, and we all come together and live together.
I'll bring the Kool-Aid. But that's kind of what I'm trying to do, Sarah. That's kind of my vision for my event company, whatever you want to call it. So next year, I'm still going to do my investigating because that's my heart and soul. That's what I love. And I'm still going to do the podcast, of course. We're not even doing seasons. After talking to Rob, I'm just going straight through. We're just going to continue on.
Done.
As a matter of fact, Steve Gonzalez is our first guest in January. So he's kicking off season 2, I guess. But anyway, so so next year, I got Ken 10 Paranormal, which is my team. And then I'm going to have Ken 10 Paranormal Adventures, which is my event thing. And there's several lesser known locations here in Worcester, Kentucky, Southern Illinois, Northwest Tennessee, that has lots of history, and some of the locations have been burnt by other teams, so they don't let just anybody in, but they still trust me because I'm respectful. So that's what I'm going to do. Like for National Ghost Hunting Day, which is the third Saturday of September, we used to always do a one public investigation every year. Novice investigation. I don't like that term. I prefer the term public investigation. I'm old school. I've been doing this longer than Chris has been alive. So we do. But we always do it at a place that's called the Metropolitan Hotel. It was the Black Hotel during segregation, and all the famous people stayed there. The Harvard Globetrotters, Josh Gibson from the Negro League, Duke Ellington, Ike Turner, all of them. And it's always, so I don't know if you guys know, do you guys know Damian Christie from Tennessee?
Yep.
Damian actually considers the Hotel Metropolitan the third most active location he's ever been to.
Nice.
So that's how active it is. But very few people know about it. They allow very few people to investigate it. But Miss Betty and the people trust me. So I want to put on a bigger thing there. Bring in like Sarah said, other investigators. Whether it be like paranormal. Just whoever, Paranormal Journey, whoever in there, and to give them some thing. And then like the abandoned hospital that I was talking to is actually in Carroll, Illinois, which Carroll is a ghost town. It's a real life ghost town. But it was supposed to have been the biggest town in the area. It got destroyed by racial riots in the 70s. It never recovered. But it was one of the places that I am trying to get permission to investigate, and I've almost got it. They were burnt by another team during COVID. That was very disrespectful and apparently destroyed some locations. It's called Magnolia Manor. When Carroll was booming, they actually had what they called Mariners Row. It was a set of like 5 mansions, and only 2 of them still stand. Magnolia Manor has so much history without the paranormal that it's just a spot. It was actually President Grant's headquarters during the Civil War.
Wow.
When he invaded Kentucky, and then he actually stayed there twice as president, and then once after he retired, after he left office and came on vacation. So that's just the history of that place. And then the hospital has actually been abandoned since 1988. So it's been abandoned forever. Nobody owns it anymore. When we go there, I use it as my training location for my team because it's the best training location because you got 4 stories of a huge hospital, and I've took people I've took JB Coates there, and Gavin Kelly's been there, and American Ghost Project, but I've got some of the best evidence I've ever got there. I've got my highest ever EMF reading there. I got 116 EMF reading, and what you like I said, what you have to realize is, and I use a millimeter. I don't use a Lowe's EMF reader. Like I said, it's been abandoned since 1988. So there's absolutely no wires, anything. It's been gutted. So there's nothing to give off. And the thing is the EMF reading was following me down the hallway, like we was videoing, and as I walked down the hallway to the basement, it was following me.
Wow!
And then that same investigation, we was on the 3rd floor, which the 3rd floor was the hospice. The north side was hospice, and the south side was the psychiatric ward. So, and then the psychiatric ward verified had a lynching. There was a guy that was put there under arrest.
Oh, he's cutting out.
House arrest, whatever you want to put it. He raped. He was accused of raping a white teenage girl, and the other residents of the hospital took it upon themselves to hang him. So
Wow.
it was originally reported as a suicide. But my grandfather was the chief of police in Wycliffe, which is the town over. And in those days, jurisdiction wasn't what it was. In those days, if they needed help, you helped. And so my grandfather was the one who investigated it. So I know, and of course there's the reports and all. So anyway, that's the backstory to get to this point. So when we was investigating the fourth floor, JB Coates, I don't know if you know JB, she's crazy, but JB loves to go live. Everywhere she goes live. So I'm not enjoying this investigation as much as I do most of them, because I'm having to play a tour guide. You know what I'm saying? I'm not actually getting investigated. I'm having to lead everybody around. But she decides to go live, and as she's going live, I just get a big scratch across my face.
Oh, wow.
So on that same investigation too, I was using my thermal camera, which is one of my favorite pieces of equipment, because you can't fake a thermal camera. You either get something or you don't. So I'm being slow on these highs and everything. I'm sorry, everybody. I took a picture with my thermal camera on the third floor, and in the picture you see, I got a husband and wife on my team. So you see Dennis and Denise, they're there. They're the only two people there. There's only three people on the floor. It's just me, Dennis, and Denise. So in the thermal picture, you get Dennis, Denise, and there's like a 6'6" humanoid shape peach signature right beside them.
Wow.
So anyway, so that's a cool place. So I'm passionate about those places. Like this, not discovered yet. This Saturday we're going to a place called Camp Beauregard, which was a Civil War basic training camp, and half the soldiers that died there died of disease and depression before they even went to battle. So it's always activity, and then next Saturday we're actually going to one of the places, the undiscovered places, like you said. We're actually going to Cairo, and we're going to the Masonic Temple that was built in 1920. So yeah, nice. I'm all about it. So changing the subject again, let's talk about why you guys got into the paranormal. Why did you start investigating? Why did it make you a passion? I know it's because Rob's the devil, and the devil said to do it. And
where's my popcorn?
That's right. I'm not even sure. Like I've said this a few times on a couple different shows. I don't really have that one origin story. My mom was very much into spiritualism. She's very spiritual. She liked the angel sort of situation, the psychics, numerology, astrology, and I always liked scary movies. But I think as I work backwards, like now that I'm older and more aware of what it is I'm doing, and I think back to when I was younger, I just think it is a very natural thing to be curious about, right? I don't know that I have one story that I can tell you like, oh, this happened to me, therefore I'm into the paranormal. I think I've always just been very curious about the deeper conversations. And so I think paranormal falls right into that. What happens to us after we die, or, who is communicating with us? Why do we have intuitiveness when we shouldn't have, we shouldn't have certain knowledge? So I don't think I have just a real solid origin story. I think it's just, I'm a human being and we die and there's something more. And so I know you hate when I say that.
It reminds me that we're going to die every single day. Loves to put that out there. I know we're all going to die. It's great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I love that story because I grew up, my abilities, my gift, I call it my gift, my clairvoyance and stuff. I was born with it. I don't remember a time in my life when I couldn't see and communicate with spirits. I mean, from the time I was 6. And they think that the theory, from the mediums and stuff that I know, they think I got it because my great grandmother was a Cherokee medicine woman, so they think I just inherited it from her. But being down here in the middle of the Bible Belt, or the heart of the Bible Belt, my gift wasn't smiled upon or nourished. I mean, all my life I always got, oh, you must worship the devil. You're going to hell, and the para pop culture has made it a little bit better. Now I get, oh, you mean like ghost hunters, and then I still get, oh, you're going to hell. As you guys know, and I guess most of the viewers, because I'm friends with almost everybody on my Facebook page, I had a really good friend of mine all the way back to middle school last week that used to be big into the paranormal field. I mean, he actually planned and organized the first ever Paracon in Europe. That's how big he was. And oddly enough, I didn't know that until he retired from the Army and we reconnected. So, and now he's got all religious or whatever, which is fine, and I have no problem with that. But he basically, no, he didn't basically. He flat out told me that I was not only going to hell, but I was a tool of the devil, and so that bothered me a little bit. It don't usually bother me from people, but it bothered me from him, knowing because he's been where I'm at. So I was like, after talking to Sarah, you were actually the first person to respond to that thing. But after talking to you and Rob and Courtney and some other people, I was reminded. The first thing is we're not supposed to judge each other anyway. And what kills me is everybody tries to use the verse from Leviticus trying to say you shouldn't. The religious people try to use the chapter in Leviticus to say you shouldn't communicate with spirits and stuff. But what people don't realize about me is I am the wrong person to try to argue Bible with, because I'm actually a Bible scholar. I actually that's one of many things I studied in college. So the actual verse in Leviticus that they try to use, the King James Version says not to speak to spirits because you don't know if they're evil or good. But the actual Greek translation says not to talk to spirits unless you're trained or gifted. So, so if they're going
well, now we know who to go to.
College,
Yeah, for
Now we
real.
know who to go to when we have a Bible question. Kent, I didn't know that. And that is such a good, and here's the thing, that is so important, because I think this is where, and not to be controversial on your show, but I think this is where yeah, here we go. But seriously, and same thing, like Chris too. Chris is so good with history. I think sometimes as investigators, some of us, we know just a tad of something and we sort of run with it, and we sort of die on that hill, but we haven't really dug into all of the history or the facts of what we're sharing. Sometimes we either saw it on a show or we heard somebody that we respect in the field say it, but we didn't bother to do any work. So I always appreciate when Chris comes in and shares his history, because
the reason why I do this, because a lot of historians don't give out deeper history into the places. So my job is to give all the history in deeper and put it out there to let people know that something actually did happen there. Because it needs to be told.
Yeah, I love that. So if you don't follow Chris's Ghost Exterminator, Extremities? What is it?
Yep, Exterminator.
So Exterminator, that's right. Thank you. I'm like word lost here. You should join it, because Chris, you give great things. But now, honestly, Kent, to know that is something you studied and you know it really well, that's really good information to use while we're investigating. Look at this. Get on it. They've got all sorts of things covered. We have
got it all.
The information that people carry. This is why you have to meet everybody in the paranormal. You have to ask bigger questions, and you have to let people speak, because that's something you learn, and you're like, because I hear people spout off Bible verses all the time, and I'm not sure they understand what exactly they're spouting off. So awesome.
Well, one thing I was always taught, like I said, like we know, I'm here in the middle of the heart of the Bible Belt. So I did that whole growing up in church thing, and I question, I was a youth evangelist. I traveled the nation, leading youth revivals. But one thing my pastor always liked about me is I challenged him. I wasn't one of those people that just because somebody from the pulpit that's supposed to teach me right was teaching it didn't mean I believed it. I studied it myself. I have 5 versions, 5 different translations of the Bible. So so if somebody tells me, I know I might be an extremist, but if I'm into something, I dive in wholeheartedly. You should have figured that out by now already. But nobody's going to tell me something. I'm going to find the truth. The first time my gift got recognized was my grandfather, my papa is what I called him, my dad's dad. He was dying. He was at the hospital. I might get emotional, so forgive me. So
Don't do that.
He was
You're
at the
gonna get me
hospital.
emotional. Nothing gets me more emotional than another dude getting so go
So he
ahead.
was at the hospital, St. Francis Hospital in Cape Girardeau, and so I was the only one that was staying at the hospital the whole time. Not my dad, not me and my mom sometimes. And my mom was the ex daughter-in-law and I'm talking about ex from over 20 years ago. And we were the ones that stayed together. So anyway, so I was sleeping on, the couches and all that stuff. So anyway, this lady came up to me while we was in the visiting, room, the waiting room. And she came up to me and she's like, you got the gift, don't you? And I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, you can communicate with the dead, can't you? And I was like, yeah. She's like, I was told to come over here so you can help me talk to somebody. I was like, wow. And I was 17, and so that was like one of those moments. I didn't know that lady. She didn't know me. So she, but somebody led her to me. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. I mean, what made me, Rob? You haven't answered the question yet. But I'm going to answer the question first, then you can answer. But so what got me into it, and I may have told you two this before, I don't know. I talked to Rob daily. He's probably ready to block me, block Kent. But
Click block.
So anyway, I had a. She was a great aunt, but she was like a grandmother to me. Every time that whenever we went out to eat with my grandparents, she was always with her. She was my Memore's sister, so she was like a third grandmother. So she passed away. Her husband passed away, and I was only 13, so they wouldn't let me go to the hospital and stuff. But I was actually staying at their house. And the night that they died, he came to me. He came to the bedroom. I was sleeping in his bedroom, and he came to me, and he's like, "Kent, I've died," but he's like, "I don't want you to be sad because I passed on." He's like, "But I wanted to stop and tell you not to hide your gift and live a good life." And at that point, I figured I either after peeing my pants, I figured I either had to learn to use my gift or be afraid of it for the rest of my life. And I'm sure you guys can tell, I'm not the kind of guy to be afraid of anything. So that's when I made the decision to learn to use my gift. So Rob, it's your turn.
Oh God, how do I follow you two up? Look, I never was like the paranormal fascinated me and interested me as a kid, but I never really spent a lot of time with it. or on it other than, watching movies and scary movies and, Hellraiser, all that fun shit. And yeah, I was a metalhead to Sierra, so, and people think that shit kind of goes together. But, it was later in life, got married, had the kid, and my daughter was really, really, really tight with my father. And he was super sick. So when I moved out here to PA, he wanted to live with us, right? And I was like, God, all right. I love my dad, but he's my dad, and he can be tough to live with. So anyway, we have the baby. It's his only granddaughter ever. And those two got super tight. He was living with us, but he had all kinds of health problems, and that's why he was living with us. The day that man died, there's a lot of stories that go with this, but the day he died, I was at work in North Jersey. I just got there. I just knew it. I had this really bad feeling. Phone rang, got the news, came back, saw him, tried to figure out how to do this, never dealt with that before. Went home, and my ex-wife was like cooking dinner. My daughter was 3. She was born in 2005. My dad died in 2008. And she's sitting in her little high chair, and we agreed not to tell her that he was gone. She's 3, like 2.5, really. Like, how do you tell this little girl that her best friend's dead? So I walked in, she's cooking, my kid's in the high chair, and she just starts talking, and she starts freaking out. The kid starts freaking out. So I'm looking at her. I go over. She's crying. I'm like, "What's wrong?" She's like, "We can't eat dinner. We can't eat dinner." That's all she would say. I'm like, "Why? Why can't we eat dinner?" And she was like, "Grandpa's coming to say goodbye." Like, dude, like, this was movie shit, right? So I'm like, okay. So I looked at the ex-wife. I'm like, "Did you say something?" And she's like, "No, no, she didn't." She's like, "No." Now, prior to this, when I would take her to see him in the hospital, when I would bring my daughter, she would like sometimes freeze up in the middle of the hall. Like, she was seeing things, and she'd say there were monsters there. She used to freak me out. Got her calmed down. We're trying to figure out how she figured it out. And about 10 minutes later, she's like, "We can eat now." I looked at her and I was like, "Why?" And she's like, "Grandpa said goodbye." Then really weird shit started happening in the house, like things moving. She would play with somebody I couldn't see. I have all the drawings. She would make these crazy, creepy little drawings.
Like what kind of creepy stuff?
It would be like the one that I have on my phone, at least, is like the house and the 3 floors, and there's like this crazy black squiggle. And then her up on the 3rd floor, and it says, "Help save Grandpa Fred," right? It's like, what the fuck? Like, it was crazy, but we started hearing bangs on the walls, things moving. Like, I was positive some body was in the house, to the point where I was like losing work. I had an engineering / marketing job for a long time, and it was very like facts-based job for many years, and all over the world proving things to people. And here's this happening in my house, and how do you even address it in corporate America? That, like, because I look like shit, right? Because I didn't have like the goatee or anything back then, but I was losing sleep. I went to work. My boss is like, "Dude, you all right?" And I'm like, "Oh, like, I'm not." So he's like, "What's going on?" So I went in his office. I'm like, "Fucking think my house is haunted." He's like,
Have you ever thought about waking up and saying, "What just happened?"
"Oh yeah, oh yeah," right? So I expected him to look at me like I was crazy, and he's like, "You need to talk to Ron," who was his boss, the vice president, who owned a house up in North Jersey that was owned by a famous basketball player. And that guy had committed suicide. So they were going through all kinds of stuff in that house too. So that's really what got me, and I could go on for hours about this, but that's what got me started in this. I wanted to understand a couple things. One is, is it really him? Because you don't know, right?
Mhm.
I'm like, I don't know what's happening. Is my kid creating this? So I started watching the shows. Then I started going out on events, and I'm like, I'll be the first to admit, I went out trying to bust these people, right? I'm like, they're full of shit. If you're charging me money, you're going to fake it. And I have videos of my very first public event ever that I still can't explain, that was back in 2008. And I just got the bug, man. Like, this is it. And my dad did stick around for a while. At least I believe it's my dad. 99% sure at this point. But he stuck around for a while, learned how to deal with it as much as we could. My kid kind of loved it. I just wanted to understand. So, went on public event after public event. And then, this kind of spawns into what Get Haunted. Why Get Haunted ever happened? I tried to get on teams all over here. Everybody's like, nah, we get enough people. Nah, you don't have enough experience. No thanks. You're not my brother or my cousin or anything. Like, I was like, well, how do you do this? How do you even get started? Because I'm not like, according to 99.7% on Facebook, I'm really not a dick. But I was having a hard time. Sarah's in the 0.3%. It's having a hard time finding people, and then the ones that I did, I just didn't gel with. Right, I just didn't. Somehow I then landed, a spot on another company, and that's when I started learning how to work with people in the public. And I love that part. Right?
Kool-Aid for liquid death today.
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
Actually, we actually had something happen yesterday in my house.
Oh.
Yeah, my mom was getting ready yesterday, and my brother came in. They were going out, and he was walking out. My brother was going out with his friends and stuff, and then 2 minutes later, a knock at the door again, and then my mom said, "Come in," and then the second knock, "Come in," and she yelled, "Come in," and then she opened the door, nobody's there. It was right over here.
That's awesome.
I was like, my mom just told me the story. I said, I did hear the knock.
Cool. That's cool. Now, I do think
I want to talk about.
I think Sarah has a bigger story that she just doesn't remember, but we'll save that for another show, boys.
I want to talk about Sierra's comment here. She said that she was baptized, and then told that a person that she loved dearly died because he worshipped the devil, because he wore black and listened to heavy metal, and she hasn't been back since. So, I guess while I'm just going to embrace the controversy because I just don't care, and so I'm not the anti-religious person. I actually consider myself a Christian. But what people have to understand is there's a difference between religion and church and being a Christian. Really, being a Christian is just about having a relationship. That's what it's about. So, with that being said, I want to talk about this person wearing black and listening to heavy metal music. Okay, so I'm old. We all know that. I grew up in the 80s and 90s. So that was in the heart of the whole, if you play a record backwards, it gave you messages from the devil.
Slayer.
Yeah. Yeah. And I am a heavy metal person. Megadeth, Metallica, any of it.
Hey,
listen.
I reached out to
That's
Dave
my music.
Mustaine. Dave Mustaine knows who we are now. Just saying.
So anyway, with that being said, this is also for you, Damien, with you with your whole Ouija board thing. So when I was 14, I had a crush on this hot chick, hot girl. I mean, she was like, she was like she was like 15 and I was like 13, but she was like, she was like a goth girl. That was before we called her goth, but she was into all that stuff. Kind of odd. She was the adopted daughter of my youth pastor, but anyway, she was into all that stuff, Ouija boards. So I got invited to a pool party by her, even though I was younger, because I was actually a cool kid back in the day. I used to have really nice hair, believe it or not, so the girls liked me, especially the more rats. And so anyway, I got invited to this party, and we I need to be censored, I think. So anyway, I was invited to this party, and it was they had it at the hotel, the biggest hotel in Paducah at the time. It was the Executive Inn, is what it's called, and it was a pool party. So I'm like the only guy there really, which was okay with me because there was 9 teenage chicks. So so they decided we was going to do the Ouija board, and the Ouija board, the Ouija board. I guess because of my clairvoyance and stuff, I connected with the Ouija board right away. But I don't think the Ouija board's bad or good. Like a lot of people, there you go, misfits. I've seen them. Like a lot of people say, the only thing is, it's just like any other tool. If you use it, you need to remember you've opened a portal. You either need to close it or use it. You know what I'm saying? But so anyway, so at 13, I'm at this party with all these goth people. So we did the Ouija board, and then we did a game, and I'll never forget it because it was kind of a freaky game. It was called 13 Ladders and 13 Doors, and you basically go into a trance, and you let the spirits guide you to which ladder, which door you go to, and so that was like my first real experience trying to know what I was doing, I guess. And then my best friend in high school, his name was Tracy. He actually got killed in a car wreck the year after we graduated. He was my best friend from kindergarten all the way there. But anyway, he was into, for whatever reason, we were both into paranormal, which in the 1990s was a kind of odd. We used to get such strange looks and stuff when we go to the library and check out books of parapsychology and everything. I even got sent down to the principal's office and stuff. And but when I turned 16, which would have been 1990, we actually spent Halloween actually investigating a real haunted house. So so this is just what I've always been doing. So anyway, I do want everybody to understand. We'll drop some more Bible knowledge on everybody. Sarah, you ready for it?
I'm ready for it.
I want everybody to understand that there's only one unforgivable sin. You know what the one unforgivable sin is? Blasphemy of the Spirit. That's a long term. What blasphemy of the Spirit means is denying that God, Jesus is God's Son. That's the only unforgivable sin. Murder, homosexuality, black magic, nothing, everything else can be forgiven. So take your judgmental stuff and kiss my ass.
That's right from Kent's mouth. You heard him.
You're right there.
You heard him.
Good shirt. Yeah.
So
That is a
anyway,
good
moving
shirt.
on.
Got real serious there for a minute, Kent.
I'm sorry. I'm passionate sometimes. So let's do icebreaker questions that we usually do at the beginning. But
Ice maker or
friends-
icebreaker? Because there's a big difference.
Well, I got an ice maker in the kitchen.
Yeah, GE? Is it a GE? Is it Samsung? All right, go.
We can go use the ice maker to make margaritas if we want to, I guess.
Oh, baby, that's not good.
But anyway, first icebreaker question is, what is your favorite location you've investigated, and what is your bucket list location?
Oh, it's hard. I'm going to say Heyman because I think that was the Heyman House in West Virginia. Oh my gosh, and why am I blanking out on the town? Sutton, West Virginia. I'm going to say that's my favorite because that's probably the first time that I allowed whatever ability I had in that moment to flow. And it was a comfortable location for me to do that. As far as what?
And she finally got to meet me in person.
Yeah, and I got to. This is how this whole. Yeah.
This
So our
amazing
first in person investigation. Bucket list. I don't. I'm going to just put it this way. I don't think my bucket list location has been discovered yet. So. Yeah, we're still looking for it.
A lot of people say it changes all the time. I mean, mine changed. Mine used to be Alcatraz, and then I did it, So yeah. So Rob, you're up, sir.
So
I don't know whose energy.
She's talking about yours. She's got to be
Stacy's talking. She loves yours.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to agree with Heyman House because for me that was sort of the turning point in, how I investigate who I see myself as in terms of where do I fit into the paranormal and what does it really mean to me? And there were some magical, like crazy paranormal moments that happened in that house that I just can't explain. And one day we'll have to go back there, but it was just one of the best investigations ever. But it was small, it was quaint, and the house just responded to that energy that night. Bucket lists, everybody's got these American bucket list locations. When I was in Holland, I was at a church. It's called the Udekersk. It's a 15th century church. And you talk about vibes, like when I walked into this place, and like they just bury people everywhere in the church. They're in the walls, they're in the pillars, they're on the floor. There's a crypt, everything. And the vibe in that place for me was like, whoa. So I would love a night just in that place to check it out. I mean, the history alone, but there was a vibe about it. And I've been on many investigations at many amazing locations, and they're all near and dear to my heart in different ways. But that place, there was just something special. So I'd love to get back there. Plus, it's Holland, man. Really good cheese, great food. So,
me and my dad are planning on taking a trip to Trans-Allegheny.
Nice.
That is nice. It's a great location.
Yeah, we did a tour there on the way home from West Virginia last year, and just you got to go. It looks really, really good.
I know, it's a huge, massive place.
Yeah, it's huge.
It's like how many acres does it have? Like
600 trillion.
Okay.
I don't know. It's a big ass complex. That's what it is.
So, my favorite location, most people assume I'm going to say Waverly, being from Kentucky, and I do like Waverly, but I have a love-hate relationship with Waverly. I've actually been there I've been there 4 times. The first 2 times I went, it was crazy. but now it's been like so commercialized, I guess. It's just not the same experience. But anyway, I'm not going to get into that. My favorite location I've done recently was going back to it was a chapel, I guess. It was a little chapel inside a graveyard in Hopkinsville. This actually 3 feet away from Edgar Case's grave. If you know who Edgar Case was, he was a famous psychic medium in the 50s and 60s when it was huge. He was like the one. Like the president went to him, all this stuff. He's actually buried there, and he was actually one of the first ones to become famous for it. And some of the things he projected that people still don't know how he. But anyway, so that was a cool place. So anyway, next icebreaker question is, what is your go-to piece of equipment? And you can't say yourself. We know we're the best piece of equipment. What is your favorite piece of equipment?
Music box. Love the music box.
She does, and she gets like stupid reactions with that thing. I put it on; it can be on all day. It doesn't do shit. She's like, "Hey, set that off," and they're like, "Okay, lady." Ding, ding. It's stupid.
Yeah.
So I am. If I'm known for something, it's known for my EVP work. So my favorite piece of equipment, not because of the evidence I get, but because I get to hand it to people and let them get that evidence on their own. So it's my recorder, or my pair of recorders.
I just want to say I like Damien's question. We all have to answer his question about what song do we listen to before we investigate. So after you
I put that out. That was going. I was going to get that, Sarah. I'm trying to pay attention to the questions. I mean, but yeah, my go-to piece of equipment right now is I have a Paratech VM5. If you know what that is, it's the same technology as Ovilus.
Oh, okay.
It's not as expensive, and it has 16 different settings you can change. And when it comes time to update it, you just plug it into the computer and update it like a cell phone instead of having to spend $800 for a new one.
Yeah, I hear you.
And then my other go-to piece of equipment right now is I really like the thermal camera, because you either get something or you don't. So now let's go to Damien's question. What do you have, a soundtrack or a song that you go to? I'm usually the one that drives when my team goes to locations. So I have somewhat of a soundtrack, but I definitely have a song. It's just about any time I'm on a road trip song, especially to get me psyched up for a investigation. It's going to show my age again, but my go-to song is the Beastie Boys' "Fight for Your Right to Party."
Oh, I love it. What's yours, Rob?
So if we're doing an event, right, because I like to come out like a pro wrestler, it's Thunderstruck by AC/DC. But if I'm just going in, on a mission, on an op, I'm going to have to say Symphony of Destruction by Megadeth.
Good song.
Oh, Chris, do you have any songs you like?
I listen a lot of country.
Oh, thank God. All right, because I like country as well.
I listen to everything but R&B and rap. Except for that.
Then. All right. Well, my go-to, and I've actually gotten my equipment to go off when people haven't known what I listen to on the way to investigations, but I am an Usher girl, so Usher is the one song that just gets me ready for an investigation. And I don't snap all the time. But yeah.
She's a snapper.
I actually listen to Irish music.
To what?
There you go.
Irish music.
Oh, Irish. I thought you said hearse music.
Yeah.
Okay.
Irish music I listen to.
That's fun.
Yeah, music is music, Stacey. I agree. Whatever makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I listen to every type of music. I mean, I'm one of those people. When I say every time, I mean I can, I do the rap, I do the heavy metal. I don't do New Kids on the Block
Please don't.
at all. No New Kids on the Block.
Good boy.
But I do rap, heavy metal, country. And even like the hybrid. Like I'm a big Kid Rock fan.
Oh yeah.
I've actually been hunting with Kid Rock.
Nice.
I actually went on a hunting trip. With Kid Rock and Hank Jr. So.
Oh, nice.
Look at you, man.
Yeah.
You're a fucking rock star, bro.
Yeah, and I love Dropkick Murphys too, and we're getting all kinds of bands here. So yeah, so we're actually running over, but that's okay because I don't care.
It's our network. It's our network. We can go 24 hours if you want. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Who are they going to complain to?
Exactly. So here's my next question, and this is to you guys. You guys have to answer this because I really can't. But for whatever reason, Get Haunted, we get a lot of hate. Why do you think that is? Why do you?
I have my theories.
Now it got interesting.
Oh, just now, Chris? Thanks a lot.
An hour and 6 minutes in.
Chris, you don't have to ask hard questions.
Wow, Chris. Chris is like, oh, no, wait, I'll listen now. What
Yeah.
you guys got to say?
Well, yeah, I mean, look, it's easy to blow things into out of proportion. It feels like a lot of hate sometimes. The truth is, it comes from
Here's my answer right here.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, but it comes from a handful of people. But there's a deeper reasoning behind it, I think. And Damien's kind of, I think, maybe landing on it, right? There's some people that are genuinely mad at us, right? And some of them, I believe that some of it is because they were part of Get Haunted and they were either asked to leave or chose to leave or had no choice but to leave. And especially those that were asked really don't know.
Behaving, I might get asked to leave soon.
Yeah, you're going to be fine. But it's like, I guess I would be upset too, seeing all the things that we've kind of put together. And Sarah, Sarah is so much better at this than me because I'm a fighter. I am a fighter, right? And they all, as much as shit as they give Sarah, should be thanking Sarah for keeping Infantry Rob, not Infantry Rob. But what's your take on it, Sarah?
I'm going to be honest. I think for some, and they might not even realize it, but I think what happens is, the paranormal, and I will always champion this. There are some people in the field who, and I appreciate their work. I do. And I appreciate the time and effort they put into it. I do. And I respect that. But when it comes to the journey or the exploration of everybody's fate that's going to happen, that is not to be closed off. That should not be closed off to a select few. So I think what happens is Rob and I have worked really, really hard to open doors for people who are curious, who want to expand and learn more from everybody else in the field. But I think what happens with that is, I think those who have put some serious time and effort into their craft of what they do in the paranormal, we use terms like investigator very loosely. And I think it upsets those that feel they put time and effort into something specifically. I think that it comes down to words chosen, a little bit of maybe like that they're being sort of pushed out. And I think if people would stop for just a moment that have this issue and understand that what Get Haunted has never been about telling anyone how to paranormal. What we're asking is, how do you paranormal? We want your voices heard. We want Kent to be heard. We want Chris Mack to be heard because of the people on the side right now. Things that you say, things that you guys do, it resonates. And then they're like, oh my gosh, yeah, like that's a really good thought and theory. Damien has been a wealth of knowledge to hear his voice added into this. So I think that Get Haunted is not here to bring the new wave of investigators to take over and do TV shows. They can all have that if that's what you want. We love that and we encourage that. What we're really about is opening the doors to conversations, to expand conversations that are out there for people who want to know more, who want to even just start, or who have been doing it. I've been doing this. I've had people kind of sort of suggest that I'm new to the scene. I've been doing this for at least 20, 25 years. I'm not new to the scene. I'm 53 years old. So the reality is I have questions after all this time, and as my journey it has sort of carried on, it's like I have bigger questions. I want to ask deeper questions. I don't want to go by the TV shows. I want to understand from people, my peers, my friends, people out there that are living life, that have had struggles, who have had traumas, who have had illnesses, who have had whatever the situation is. I want to talk about those things because those things make a difference about how we paranormal. So it's the conversations that I think scare people. And I think that scares people because it means they have to expand the conversation and also dig into their own beliefs. Just like religion, people don't like when their religion's knocked because that might mean that what they believed was not true. And they kind of don't want to have to deal with that. So I do believe that is why most people are upset.
They will actually block you just like that.
Yeah, exactly. So did I explain that right?
You did. And look, we'll take just one recent, I don't know this guy, right? But what we've noticed is like a lot of this comes from the same place, and then people take this one-sided false narrative and then they run with it, right? But recently there was some dude out in Ohio that's like, Get Haunted. Rob Stachowicz funnels money out of Get Haunted to live this lavish lifestyle. First of all, let's be real here. You don't funnel money out of your own company. Here's the truth. There's this notion out there that I'm living like I'm in private jets flying to each event. Not true. I had a really good job for about 24 years. I made a lot of money. During that time, I saved up a fair amount of money, but not enough, right? When I lost that job in 2021, decided to start this business, like really give it a go. I wasn't expecting, but I got hit with a divorce not much later, right? And with that, I went from having, I was a millionaire, and now I'm not, I promise you. And what has happened over the past few years is I have put pretty much everything I have into this to try to live my dream, to try to build something, a place for other people to come to, right? And it's turned into something I never expected. And Sarah's the biggest reason why, right? So no, I don't live this lavish lifestyle. Yeah, I have the same struggles as anybody else, sometimes more. This is all I do. And these people don't want that to be the case because they want that to be the case for them. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that life didn't put you in a position where you can do this or try to do this full time. So the same people that bash us and make up stories, and when I tell you there are stories, I mean, we have them. Here's what they don't understand is we have all the receipts, right? We have the fake text messages and emails and the people, we know things, right? So they have no problem trying to destroy me or Sarah or taking food out of my kid's mouth, or challenge my way of life, right? And you can go out and find all this stuff publicly. You will never find anything like that from myself or from Sara publicly. Have we had, private conversations with people about people that have given us a hard time? 1,000%. And I've owned it every single time, and I'll continue to own it. But not one of these people that's out there starting all this bullshit will sit down and have a conversation with us. It's 4K, Denise, 4K. For the very same reasons that Sara just talked about, because then, number one, they would have to say exactly what they're mad at. And they don't want to do that, right? They're mad because they're not doing what we're doing. You can't turn Facebook on if you're in the paranormal and not know who we are. You just can't, right? Thank you again, Sara. So, and there's there are literally people that have made up fucking stories about us, and we're like, what? Like, it's incredible. So anyway.
What people don't know is that we're not there to be famous or be like ex-celebrities and just go out and spread money. We want money. No, we're not there. We're there to get out and have fun.
Look, I need money. I've never lied about that. This is all I do. I have bills, car payments, insurance, healthcare, right? All this shit. And that's a whole nother show, right? There are people that are that think making money in the paranormal is like, that means you're a fucking piece of shit, right? But where does that start and end? It's okay for a location owner to charge money, and it's okay for them to rent that place, but it's not okay for us to host an event there where we and I've had this talk with location owners, right? Okay, so Team XYZ, they're going to rent your place 3 times a year, and they're going to give you the probably in a lot of cases during the week rate, you're $400, whatever it is. That's $1,200 a year. Guess what, people? When we show up, especially on a weekend, we're paying sometimes twice that, right? We don't get breaks, and we do it often. So there are certain locations where we spend $10,000 to $15,000 a year. And what that last location owner, Sara, what she said, you guys preserve history every time you're there. We help keep the roofs on these places and put the doors on and keep the heat running so that people can come in. The other thing is, guess what, folks? 85% of our guests and our customers are branding new to the paranormal, and they just want to find a place to go. Right. Denise's that's ridiculously inexpensive.
Oh my gosh, that's so amazing.
They want
Denise, make sure to tell Rob I said hi.
Yeah. So it's like, you don't want new people coming in to the paranormal. Is that what this is? You don't want people to come and explore and maybe learn something, and then, hey, if they're one and done and they're off and they do their own thing, that's great. And you're right. I never started this to lose money. And guess what? People think we make a killing on events, and we don't. There are travel costs, hotels, there's insurance. We are fully insured. I am not going to lose my ass if Chris burns down Pinhurst, right? It's just not happening. There's food. We feed people. People have no idea, but they have this narrative that I'm out there in a Lambo, flying to these places, living this big lifestyle. Yeah, part of the army right there, brother.
Love that. Love that t-shirt.
It's just
basically what we're saying we're saying these people need to get their panties out of the wad. Is basically what we're saying.
It's just that
stands for community, not competition. That's what it's about. People, like you said, they need to sit down and have that conversation. They're worried about losing their spot in the pop culture and all that stuff. I mean, I have friends that's there. I know you have guys. We all know people there. It's supposed to be about what's best for the community, not what's best for a celebrity. You know what I'm saying? And it's like Sara said.
But Ken, I think here's what has been probably the most interesting thing that I've learned here in just this past year with all the people who have something to say about what it is we do. You know, these people are speaking for each of us, for you, Chris, for the people on the side, for everybody in the community, and they're not asking you directly. So they say, oh, Sarah and Rob, Get Haunted sucks. They're they're a bunch of jokers or whatever, right? Well, the reality is we are not Get Haunted. Everybody in the community that partakes in the network, and that's networking, by the way, together, working together for collabs, you guys are Get Haunted. And so we have had location owners where we've had haters say, you know, oh, they're not doing preservation. They don't do this. And I got news for you. Talk to Denise Peck is a location owner. Ask them how they feel, because it's their locations that are needing the help. And the location owner that heard that was like, I don't, if you want to have a slumber party here, you have a slumber party here. If you want to have watching a movie here, you're here in the location helping preserve. So it's really about people's beliefs being rocked, I think. And they don't want there to be another narrative, because it does. Look, I'm the first person that will tell you, I will take one of my beliefs and tear it to shreds. If I come back to the same belief, awesome. If I don't, that's amazing. Then I needed to have a different belief. I think that people have their narrative and they don't want to deviate from that. And I think that when we start adding Chris Mack and Mike Cronin and, you know, Big Daddy Andy and Kent, when we start adding all these voices, suddenly they're like, uh-oh, I might have to rethink something. And I've based my character in the paranormal and my practices on this one thing. I will never die on a hill for the paranormal. I will never die on the hill for a theory in the paranormal. You know why? We won't know that until we're on the other side. And so this is what I'll say. I know what I know, and I don't know what I don't know. And I know that I don't know a lot of shit. So stop dying on the hill for these theories, people. You don't know it. You just don't. And it's okay. That's what the conversations are for.
Well, you know, I always say, I mean, you know, you guys don't always say it because you hear me say it all the time. You know, you're in this field, you're either green and growing or you're ripe and rotting. You know, I've been doing this. I'm just a little bit younger than you, Sarah. I'm 50, but I've been investigating as a investigator for 30 years, since 1992. So for 30 years, and you know, I used to have a face out there. I mean, you know, I was one of the people. I used to speak at the conventions and all that stuff. And I know you three know. I don't know how many of the other ones know, but they're going to find out now. You know, I have an incurable neurological condition that puts me in constant pain. I have to have a series of. I might get emotional again here, Rob. I hope that's okay. I have to have a series of 5 nerve blocks monthly just to maintain any kind of presence. That's to go along with the 9 medications. And so anyway, I had brain and spine surgery 4 years ago now. And the thing that's sad is I was led to believe that this was going to make it better. But really, now I understand on the other side that the goal of the surgery is only to slow down progression of the disease. But it didn't even do that for me because I was already. But anyway, so I had this surgery, this major brain and spine surgery 4 years ago, and my voice went silent for 3 years. And you know, you guys have helped me get my voice back, you know, and that's what it's about. It's about, like you said, it's about us. It's not about the TV shows and the celebrities. It's about the community and lifting each other up. You know, I kid all the time. It's a half joke, and I think sometimes you guys might get offended by it. I don't mean it offensive. joke half-heartedly. It's only half joke that when I grow up, I want to be a Get Haunted mercenary. Because I want to
We
be.
get you there,
I
bro.
want. I want to be part of this community. I want to do everything. I want to be. I want to be as much a part of it as I can. So So
Well, you're part of it.
Like I
You're
said,
kind of landing on what Sarah's question was earlier. I'll let you finish, and then I'll just add one little final piece to this whole story. But go ahead.
Yeah, and Kent, you already are part of this. Like, you are the community.
You are.
Your voice, your show. I just want you to know, like, and what you just shared. It is something that I know you've shared it with me a while back about your health. But this is the thing, Kent. Your voice matters, and when you say you got your voice back, when you share that and your daily struggles of what it takes for you to get going, to get up, to not be in pain, or to endure the pain for the day, and you're still here sharing your voice, that's inspirational and motivational to a lot of somebody's out there, Kent. And so what I hope when I pass that to you to say, we want to hear your voice, we hope, and you did, when I asked you about, would you consider like letting Chris come on and co-host, and here he is on your show co-hosting. You gave Chris a voice, and that, to me, as much as people, I know I'll be made fun of for this by certain souls, but to me, that's it for me. You guys are passing that on, and you're growing the community, and that is huge. So you are, Merc or not right now, Kent, you are a big part of Get Haunted, and you need to know that, and you need to own that.
That's
I'm also am too. So.
Oh yeah.
Yes, you are. Chris Mack, you are Get Haunted, dude.
Chris
Mac Daddy in the house.
Yeah, I've been for a long time. Here's the bigger thing, right? You guys don't even see half. We don't share most of the crap, right? We just don't. There's a lot of it. But Sears' question earlier was, about like, what's the ultimate dream for Get Haunted, right? No matter what, if I have to like back away from this a little bit, it'll never go away. Sorry to break some people's hearts out there. It's not going away. Why? Because of people like you, Kent, and you, Chris, and Sierra, and Damien, and Mike, and everybody on the side.
Haters gonna hate.
Yeah, but if I do, let's say I have to go back to work next year, just to make ends meet because things aren't going exactly the way I need them to. Get Haunted is going nowhere. The network will always be there. The sentiment will always be there. Our events were never really supposed to be a big part of it anyway. That's just how we connect with people from the network, right? And it gets us all out there. Yes, mostly you, Ernie. But Get Haunted's not going anywhere, and that's what people better start realizing, right? And we don't share everything. If we did, and we do it for a lot of reasons, right? We don't love seeing the drama. We hate it. If people think I don't go to bed going, man, I just hope tomorrow's like not a shitty day in terms of that. And we're not the only ones. Look, it's a problem. It's a plague within the community right now. We see it everywhere, and we hear it everywhere. And today we heard about something terrible. So Sierra, that's honestly my dream, and it's kind of what the soiree is supposed to be about. Like, come to the ship, I had a lovely post this morning. Shut the fuck up. Shut the hole in your face. Just come to the ship. If you don't like me, maybe sit down for 5 minutes, and be like, hey, like, I don't like you because someone said this about me. Maybe they were right. Maybe they were wrong. I don't know. Don't care. But I can give you at least my side of the story. So ultimately, I would love to see the Get Haunted vibe spread a little bit further. And there are people that are devout that you don't even know about, right? There are people that we work with that, because they know they might take some punches if they admit it, right? So, it kind of sucks. That part of it sucks. So ultimately, I'd love it to get to a point where the people, because it's a small minority with the loudest voices right now. We're just not afraid to say stupid shit in front of people. Sarah won't do that. I won't do that. Publicly or privately, yeah, show up. Any one of you, sit down. We'll have a talk. We don't have to broadcast it, but they won't. They won't because
I told you, Rob. Only thing you got to do is order a code Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, and I'll
yeah. Well, you can keep that on the TL there. OPSEC. Listen, yeah, we've got body parts.
Let's get to Damien's question because I think this is a good question. Damien always has good questions. But his question is, what is your one piece of advice you'd like to pass over to the kids of tomorrow coming into investigation? Can I go first? Is that okay? It's my show.
Yeah.
So one of the many things I'm passionate about, apparently, but one of the things I'm most passionate about in the field is training people. Bringing them along. My son, my middle son, is actually on my team, and so so I get to train him, and so my advice is just to make sure there's not really one, but the first thing I like to tell people is when it comes to like the paranormal equipment, make sure you learn the equipment because you have to realize none of the equipment that we used was actually originally designed for ghost hunting. So it was adapted to ghost hunting. So we have to learn the false positives and how it works and all that stuff. So you'll learn your equipment and trust your instincts. That's the big one. Trust your instincts. Whether you, I have a theory. I guess it's a theory that whether you're actually a clairvoyant or whatever. If the more you get into the paranormal field, the more investigations you go on and stuff, you develop a sixth sense. So trust your instincts. That would be my advice, and don't let the haters turn off your passion.
Can I make one little comment on? Guess what? If you accidentally misread a K2 meter, if you accidentally misread a millimeter, really doesn't fucking matter, does it? Right? Because you can't prove it anyway. So the people that get all crazy about equipment, like I get it, and you're right, they should understand it. But to your point, this does not measure ghosts. This measures anomalies. So yeah. Okay, Sarah, what's your wisdom that you're going to pass
You know
down?
what? This is what I would pass on to kids. Do not judge paranormal experiences the same. Even if it's yourself, do not think one experience and then always try to recreate that. Because what I have learned, just like in life, we all have different experiences with each other every day. Yes, we have some similarities and we have our traits. But the reality is that one day you might have an experience with something that is an anomaly that measures one way with you, but the next time it measures completely different. So again, I think it's keeping your mind open, understanding and becoming aware. And so again, don't have such a hardcore belief one way that you close off to what's really happening around you. That would be my piece of advice.
Who's going? Me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you take all of those words, your words, and I say seek with your soul. The show's coming back, folks. Show. Rob and Sarah show used to be on every other Thursday, but it's in the same vein as equipment, but no equipment, right? And I'm not saying just use your body, your intuition, your knowing. We were built to. There's a whole reason people survived as long as we have without technology. Your intuition is a real thing. And if you look deeper and dig deeper and look at the connections, right? And this is the thing Sara taught me a couple of years ago, the connections and all of this, there's the serendipity, the coincidences, if you want to call them that. It's all a big story. You just need to look at the words, and those words aren't always on the same page. So,
Great
sometimes
advice from the side too.
go sit and be. Like, you don't have to bust out all the equipment. You don't even have to be talking to the other side. This happens around us constantly. We just are distracted by everything. So don't do everything you see on TikTok, and don't do everything you see on TV. Good night, Denise.
Do yourself.
Just do yourself.
Be safe. Do yourself.
Get haunted.
But if you learn it from people, things are gonna get ugly.
Sometimes,
Sometimes,
Chris.
Like if you say the word like demon, demonic, or anything like that, no, that's gonna get ugly.
Yeah, it can.
Yeah, look. But this is where I think a lot of people are being trained, right? We see it. Everybody reacts to things on Facebook, right? Oh my God. Like everybody hates Zach, not everybody, but I'm being generally speaking, people hate Zach Baggins. Fine, right? That's fine. You can hate him. I know, right? He has given a lot of people in this field by proxy opportunity, right? Without Zach and Ghost Hunters, when that became mainstream, it opened the door for a lot of locations to actually consider bringing teams in. So, that plays an important role in history. Everybody cares about history on locations, but let's talk about history of the paranormal. Go back all the way back to the Victorian era, right? So, does it mean they're a-holes? I don't think so. They certainly act like it sometimes, right? But
Zach does.
Everybody does, right?
Everybody has their moments.
I get scared as shit on locations. I just do. Sarah's witnessed it. Anybody that's investigated with me, I have big reactions sometimes. I Scooby-Doo. I'm running in plays. I get scared. Okay, I just do.
Why do you get scared?
I've had some big experiences in a couple of different places, and some that have really, really hit me deep. And those are things you don't forget easily. Right?
The way I do investigations, I just sit down, relax, like let the ghost do its thing, and I talk to it and just communicate with it. I just not be scary because I want to experience stuff. I want to see it. I can't just say, hey. I cannot just be scared.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
People, I get. You get scared from paranormal stuff, but
I'm one of those people that get scared.
Yeah.
But I'll share you with all of you. Like my biggest experiences ever were when I wasn't looking for it. I was just sitting on a staircase, sitting somewhere downstairs. We sold the ticket.
Two.
The biggest moments I've ever had have just been sitting, right, and being connected with the people you're with is also a big part of it, which is why, we do our best on our public events to get small teams working together, vibing with each other, and then sort of tailoring their sessions to their actual vibe. All right. I'm off my soapbox. Right.
You're off your soapbox.
I know. Okay. So I'll get on a soapbox because that's what I do. Seriously, I was thinking this whole time. Sarah, you say it all the time, and I've kind of stolen it and made it my own. I hear you say all the time that we can never dismiss or put down somebody else's experience, and I think that's a great piece of advice because because just because we didn't have the experience doesn't make there's not generating. You know, if they had that experience, they had that experience. We can't take that away from them. You know,
No, and we shouldn't, right? Maybe that was for them. That was a tailor designed paranormal experience for that particular person. You could be sitting right next to somebody and experience something they may not, and we cannot question that. You can, no, it's just so wrong to me when people do that. It's wild.
Sometimes you don't even realize there's a spirit sitting right next to you, and you get scared.
That's right.
Well,
who cares?
And it might not even be paranormal though. If somebody's experiencing something, the reality is if they express it by saying this is a ghost or this was a paranormal something, nobody stops and asks more questions. Have them talk about what was going on. How are you feeling? Did you have a fight before you went? Like, there's so much more that goes into this. And this is where, as investigators, for people out there that say, you know, you're not a real investigator, I've yet to hear them ask some of those bigger questions of somebody. Instead of just saying, you're full of shit, that didn't happen that way, maybe expand the conversation. Ask what's going on with them. Did they create some of that? Did they manifest something? Maybe it is more their energy and not somebody that has passed on. But this is why we need to stop discrediting everything. I mean, fakers are fake. We get it. And that's a whole different subject. But when we knock each other down because that's not how I believe it, so you're full of shit, it ends the conversation. If you're ending a conversation, you want no resolution. So that's where I think I stand in the paranormal. We have to expand these conversations. We have to talk to each other. We have to have a bigger understanding.
Yeah, you have to have that open mind. You know, one thing that I always, two things I've always considered that I used to want to call bullshit on is I've never experienced. I've experienced it now, but up until 2 years ago, I had never seen a animal ghost or something. We was investigating a haunted mansion in Metropolis, Illinois, and we actually caught on video on a motion detector camera. We actually caught a ghost of a parakeet that died in that place. That had lived there for 100 years, and I mean, there's no denying it. It's a parakeet in flight. You can just see through it.
Yeah.
So you can never doubt anybody. And the other thing that I used to always want to call bullshit on is being I've been pushed and scratched and stuff, but being bit. The Anderson Hotel in Kentucky is one of the less known but more haunted places in the state. They actually shut down for 3 years because of how violently haunted it is. We were the second team to investigate it last year when they reopened, and that's their claim is the ghost bite. And so a little bit of history of this place. They want this place to be violently haunted. So when you go in there, there's 4 verified suicides, murders that's happened in the hotel. Verified by newspaper or coroner reports. So I mean, verified, and so you go in there, and the first thing you go into is there's a bathtub where this mother committed suicide. She was 33 when she committed suicide. She committed suicide there because her husband and son had got killed in a wreck. So anyway, she cut her wrist in the bathtub. The bloodstained bathtub is still there.
Oh wow!
Then you wander into the extra hotel, and there's a room with this 19-year-old girl, female, whatever, lady, came all the way from Michigan to this little town in Kentucky, and she was searching for answers. She actually drew with crayon pictures and Bible verses and hung them all over the room, and then she ended up cutting her wrist. The pictures are still hanging in the room, and the bloodstained mattress is still in the room.
Wow.
There's another room. There's another room that's famous. One of the more famous ones is called the Blue Room. This guy the guy that lived there, calling it a hotel is nice. It was a transit hotel, okay? Is what it was. So there's this other room, and the guy lived there, and he was just a dickhead anyway, and he was an alcoholic, and he ran prostitutes out of the room, and he ended up he ended up
Right.
hanging himself in the closet. So all of his liquor bottles are. So anyway, there's 2 more rooms that have bloodstay mattress. So anyway, so we go in and investigate, and I get in the bathtub, and I ask permission to get in the bathtub, and I was told yes and no. Well, obviously I can't yes and no, so I get into the bathtub, and my rule is when a spirit asks me to leave, I do it on the 3rd time. So anyway, so I get in the bathtub and we're having the EVP. Yep, thank you. And so we're doing an
Dude,
EVP session.
I didn't even realize. I have like 3 minutes.
One other thing.
On video and running everything. And
Hang on.
so eventually the spirit tells me to get out the 3rd time. So like I said, it's the old-fashioned bathtub. So I have to reach on the sides and try to pull myself up out of the bathtub. As I'm pulling myself out of the bathtub, I feel what felt like an Indian burn, like a really deep Indian burn on my calf. And so my team helps me out of the bathtub because I'm old and fat, so they had to help me out of the bathtub. So we get back to our makeshift headquarters, and where we can actually have light. And I have what looks like a big bite. I'm talking about like a big bite on my calf.
Oh wow!
I actually tattooed it on me, so I have it permanently on me now. So I actually tattooed. So that was so after that I have stuff called BS, but that wasn't even the most dangerous thing that happened there. That was the one investigation that I actually ended for safety reasons. So me and Dennis, he's one of my team leads. We're investigating the blue room, the one where the guy runs the prostitutes out, and the girls are investigating the suicide room, and because she reacted better to females. My theory is she came down there because of broken heart, and that's what she was. So like she responded to the females and playing Amazing Grace better than she did us. So they were doing that room, and we were doing the blue room. And I actually radioed when it was time to switch. We do hour rotations. So when it was time to switch, I radioed to the females. I was like, I know you're getting ready to come in this room, and I'm not telling you not to do it, but this spirit does not like females. I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen, but I was like, I want to warn you. That's my job as the lead investigator to, let you know. So we switch, and they go there, and like I said, this guy used to run prostitutes in and out. So my niece is on my team, and she was 19 at the time. She decides to see, try to get in conversation. So she goes up to him, and she's like, I'm 19 and cute. Can I get a job? And record on the EVP. The exact words was $50 or free room. So she was offered a job. And then the spirit grabs my team lead, Tiff, by her, how can I put this delicately? By her female part.
Okay. That's good enough.
Yeah. And when he radioed back, I was like, we're ending this investigation. So at that point, it became a safety issue.
Yeah.
But we're going back this year.
Oh,
listen,
well, be safe.
All you got to do is ask me. I'll bite you.
Okay.
That was a hell of a lot to go through to get a bite mark. I didn't realize it's almost freaking 9:00. I got to go in like 2 minutes here, sir. So let's.
I know this was excellent.
Okay, so let's do closure then. Rob and Sarah, tell everybody how to get a hold of you guys and get haunted. And thank you for being on the show.
Well, I just want to say thank you for sharing your voice. And Chris Mack, it was a pleasure to finally get to talk to you like in real person.
Yeah.
Thank you
Mac
guys
Daddy
for sharing
in the
your
house.
voice. Mac Daddy in the house. And also everybody on the side, like, thank you for your voices. Please I'm going to take that question. I love this one piece of advice to the up and comings.
Yeah, I love it.
Guys, go. I'm going to put that out there in a post. Go put that advice out there so everybody can see it. We love this. You guys have amazing voices, and Kent, great job. And I look forward to seeing your show grow and to seeing your amazing Haunted Graves Paracon in Mayfield, Kentucky, October 12th. Get your tickets and get there, because he's making this thing bigger and better. There you go. There you go.
I'll say thank you. And Kent, Chris, you guys are Get Haunted. You have been since you came aboard. Thank you both so much for everything and the love and support that you sent our way. Jason, I hear you, brother. It is upsetting out there, but there's plenty of places to shine and plenty of places to focus on the positivity. Don't let all that shit get to you. Sierra, Damien, everybody on the side. You guys are awesome. Thank you. We love you. You boys, again, killer show. I love you two together. Chris, you need a little bit better lighting. I want to see that handsome face.
Yeah, we got to see that face.
Yeah.
There it is.
There you are. There he is.
Yeah, last week he had his lighting right and everything. So we're still getting there on that. Yeah.
I'm trying to.
I love it. Stacy I love seeing Stacy on the side, Sierra's mom, Big Daddy, Andy, everybody. Thank you so much. I have to be somewhere at 9:00, and it's all good news. It's only about 5-8 minutes away. I didn't realize what time it was. Shit. We went an hour and 50 minutes. So thank you guys so much, and we'll talk.
Thank you.
And I'm going to go